Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. Today we have a brand new deck being featured, a deck that I built myself, and it is featuring Magmar and Magmortar. Now Magmortar is not a super new Pokemon, it did debut in Space Time Smackdown I believe, but the thing about Magmortar is it's really powerful. As you would guess, it pairs really well with Moltres EX because Magmortar requires 4 energy to attack. But what made me want to build this deck, I mean, first of all, we have one new card, which is Heatran. I wanted another strong basic fire type that could fit really well in the deck. I currently only own one copy of Heatran, but if I open a second, it's possible that I will play both. Of course, Heatran does pair really well with Arceus or Arceus EX, but I still think even without it, Heatran is pretty strong, especially with Moltres EX, because Moltres can set up and put some extra energies onto Heatran. So that's kind of my thought process with that. And the reason I like running Magmar with Magmortar in a Moltres deck is because of Blaine. Blaine, of course, can boost the damage of Magmar, and so we have situations where we can set up our Magmar early and then use Blaine to do a good chunk of damage. And then eventually, once we evolve Magmar into Magmortar, we can continue to do large chunks of damage with Magmortar's move, Bursting Inferno. Sorry, I know I keep moving up and down a lot here, but as far as trainers here, you know, pretty standard stuff, pretty self-explanatory. Dawn is really nice in a Moltres deck because it allows you to, you know, set up with Moltres' Inferno move. And then you can also, obviously what that does is it puts energy on your bench, and then you can use Dawn to move energy back onto Moltres to actually attack with Heat Blast pretty easily. So that's the deck. I've been trying it out and I like it a lot. I guess something I didn't even really talk about with Magmortar is not only does it do a large chunk of damage in Bursting Inferno, but it also burns the enemy. Now burning is similar to poison in this game, where every turn it'll do 20 damage to them instead of 10. However, after the first instance of doing 20 damage, or rather, every turn they get a chance to flip a coin, and if they flip heads, they are cured from the burn. So you use Bursting Inferno, they are burned, it goes to their turn, they take 20 damage right away, and then they flip. So they're always going to take that extra 20, and then they flip, and if they get tails, they are still burned. So it can do a lot of damage over time. And another big reason why I like this Pokemon is because it's really good at taking down some of the strong grass types that exist in the meta, notably Celebi and Executor, because this can deal, you know, super effective damage to them. It's also okay at taking on things like Darkrai. There's a lot of Pokemon with like 140 HP in the meta, and it can kind of chunk away at those Pokemon. It itself also has 130 HP, which is not nothing. And so that's what I decided. And, you know, there's other Magmars in the game. This is the one that I decided on. The other Magmar that does a lot of damage, it requires you to discard the energies attached to it. So that can be really awkward when we're trying to set up Magmortar. And then there's another one from Space Time Smackdown, which requires 1 energy to attack, but it doesn't do any damage. It just puts an extra energy onto Magmar. So it lets you put extra energy onto Magmar quickly, but if we're running that Magmar, then there's no reason to run Blaine, and that's kind of the whole reason I wanted to run this deck. So let's try it out, let's play a couple games and see how it does. All right, we've got our first game here, and this is an interesting one. Oh, by the way, this is the 5 consecutive win event is currently live for Triumphant Light. And so I have been trying a lot of decks. Currently, I'm very close to the win. I had to restart because I lost. I got 4 wins and then I lost. I've just been trying a lot of random stuff just to see what sticks. But anyway, we can lead with Moltres. By the way, we have 2 awesome looking Moltres EXs. We'll lead with this one for right now. And then we like to, of course, put Moltres and Heatran on the bench. And then we have Pokeball there. And the funny thing is, the only basic Pokemon left in our deck are Magmar now. So that Pokeball is guaranteed to find a Magmar. And of course, we are up against a Steel deck or Metal deck. This is the Arceus Dialga deck, which is pretty popular right now. It's a really strong deck. Probably one of the strongest decks in the meta at the moment. One plus side for me, though, is that these Pokemon are weak to fire, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. Interesting. So we find a Magmar, and like I said, this one's guaranteed to find Magmar. So what we can do here is actually go Communication And the funny thing is this is going to be guaranteed to find Magmortar. So now we will have a Magmortar to evolve our Magmar eventually. And of course, Magmortar is capable of one-shotting this Heatran effectively. So this could be really, really strong for us. If we get a lot of heads with this Moltres, we could have a really powerful turn next turn. So let's see how this goes. There's one. Oh, nice. 2 heads is very nice. I think I will just go ahead and put them onto Magmar, I guess. If we happen to draw Blaine, we will also be able to pump the damage for Magmar. Although that still would not kill Heatran. So I think what I'll do this next turn, because my opponent's far away from attacking. All of their Pokemon require a lot of energy to attack. Now here's the funny thing and the important thing. Oh, that's actually a decent draw. Arceus EX has Fabled Luster, which prevents it from being affected by special conditions. So actually Magmortar cannot burn their Arceus. So that's something that we need to keep in mind. So how do we play this turn here? We drew Dawn, which could allow us to attack with Moltres. But then that puts us a little bit farther away from attacking with Magmortar. Am I okay with that? You know what? I actually think I am. Let's go ahead and Dawn. We're going to attack with Moltres this turn. It just pressures them a lot. I guess I'll evolve Magmar just in case they have like... red card, although I doubt that's going to be the case, but I guess there's not much of a reason to wait. There is kind of a reason to wait. Actually, I could have just... Because in case I ever want to attack with Magmar rather than Magmortar, that was a reason to not evolve there. So who knows, maybe that was a mistake, but we're pressuring them here, which is great. Moltres does a ton of damage to both of their metal Pokemon, and if they switch into Arceus here, it is going to be a 2-hit KO from Moltres. Okay, that can be pretty good. Definitely load up the Magmortar. I guess we have to think ahead here. I mean, we're probably gonna put it on Magmortar. We get to knock out Heatran here. What else can I do here? How much damage is this guy gonna do? 70, 20 for each of your benched Pokemon, which at the moment is just 1, so that would do 90 damage. If they put 2 extra Pokemon, they still don't one-shot Moltres here, so I actually think I'm okay just loading up the Magmortar and just going for the knockout here. Because something I could have done is retreat... I mean, this is kind of a crazy play, but I could retreat Moltres, go into Heatran, put an energy on Heatran, and then don the last energy on Moltres on Heatran, so that Heatran can get the knockout on their Heatran. My Fire Heatran can kill their Metal Heatran. But then if they go into Arceus and they're able to play 2 Pokemon onto their bench, they get to one-shot Heatran. So that's definitely not something I want. Now, the fact that they cannot be affected by special conditions, honestly, is helping them a lot here. Because if we could just go into Magmortar and burn them, that would much more easily take care of their Arceus. But because we cannot burn Arceus, we are in a lot of trouble. They put a Rocky Helmet. That is also something I don't want to see. If they don't put any more bench Pokemon, though, oh yeah, this is good. So if we attack this turn, we are running the risk of... Yeah, if we could just burn the Arceus with Magmortar, this would be a pretty easy turn, because I would just retreat Moltres, don the energy from Moltres onto Magmortar, and then put the energy onto Magmortar, and I would have 4 energy. As it stands, if I attack them with Moltres, I think I'm fine doing that. Let's go ahead and research here. That means we are definitely not donning this turn. We draw... These are not great draws for us. Let's go ahead and put this here. And I guess we'll just do this. We take 20, but luckily that does not knock us out, so... This is a crazy situation here. Of course, my opponent could have, like... I don't know, Sabrina, and then play 2 bench Pokemon. Okay, now they cannot Sabrina. So now there's no way. Now they're going to be knocking out Moltres this turn, and they're not going to be forcing me to switch into anything else. They also could have Potion. They would have to have Double Potion, which with my luck they do. Watch, they're going to have Double Potion, aren't they? Of course they are. Okay, we were winning that game until they did that. They still have not played a bench. There's a bench Pokemon. Okay. What do we do here now? They're gonna knock me out. We'll see. What am I hoping to draw? Because given that they're knocking out Moltres, they're getting 2 points, which means we cannot allow them to knock anything else out. What? Wait, why? Wait, why would they do that? Wait, what? Did they just throw the game? Why would they do that? Wow. That is... I don't know what that was about. We might win the game now because of that. The question is, how do we navigate this? Because if we research into like Sabrina or Cyrus, we obviously cannot use them this turn. Yeah, I'm baffled. Maybe there's something obvious I'm missing, but that was an interesting play. I was not expecting that. We can retreat with Moltres, go into Magmortar, put the energy on Magmortar, and do a lot of damage to Dialga. We would actually put them down to 10. We could Leaf here. I actually think I'm just going to retreat, like raw retreat. That sounds weird. With no Leaf here. I think I just kind of want to save the Leaf, and also it lets me use research just to kind of plan ahead for the rest of our turns. There's Blaine, but Blaine doesn't do anything because we don't have the Magmar. That's fine, though. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's nothing else for us to do. This is going to be 120 damage, plus an extra 20 from the burn. And if they don't flip heads, then they're effectively dead. Maybe they... Nice, they're still burned. I mean, they could just easily retreat. But maybe my opponent forgot about their own ability on Arceus, and maybe they thought that they would get burned, which means maybe they thought that they were going to die with their Arceus. So maybe they forgot about their own ability. I don't know. I don't know what else would explain that situation, but they got lucky with the double potion. That's a nice nice Dialga. I'm gonna be honest, hot take, I prefer this artwork, but I mean, this one's beautiful, but like, I like the ones that feature the Pokemon more prominently. All right, if we draw like Cyrus, we win the game. Oh, I forgot about that. Yikes. Yikes, okay. So now we absolutely need like Cyrus or something. Man, this is a tough one. Sabrina, that's not going to be good enough. Oh man. We're just going to lose this game now. We don an energy on Moltres. What else could we do? Yeah, we need... Well, I guess what we could do here... What have they used? They haven't used any, like, retreat. Like, they haven't used X-Speed or Leaf. So they could have those. Oh, man. If I go into Heatran, Heatran's dead. If I use... Well, because of the Shaman, they can retreat anyway. I think we lose this game. I don't think there was anything else I could have gone into there. Well, we might not lose just yet. Oh man. But well, I think we do lose because we just can't kill that Arceus. This just does 80 damage. If you have, okay. If we had a second Magmar, we could Dawn here, but I don't think that matters. I guess we Sabrina. Again, I think it's pretty likely we lose this game. Arceus does not one-shot Moltres unless they have Giovanni. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, they're just going to retreat, right? Do we still get that? Oh, interesting. Wow. This only reduces retreat costs when it's on the bench. Interestingly. But they could just put an energy on it and retreat. I don't think we can win this. If we draw Magmar... Yeah, I don't... That's unfortunate. The double potion saved them. Maybe they were just saving that from the beginning. Because we had them dead if it were not for the double potion. And there's a cape just to rub salt in the wound. Unless we draw Cyrus. Actually, if we draw Cyrus, we could still win. They have Cyrus, never mind. Well, someone had to draw Cyrus, right? Okay, well, I think the deck still looked really cool. Really crazy stuff, really back and forth, but hopefully you still got a good look at the deck, and I thought it looked pretty strong there, so that was fun. Let's do another one. I love books, nice. That's wholesome. That's one of the most wholesome names I've seen on here. A lot of non-wholesome names. Okay, we go second. I think I like that. Wow. Alright. Heatran's decent, and if it takes a tiny bit of damage... Oh, we're against this deck. This deck might just destroy us. It can destroy. Yeah, this is honestly a really rough start for us. And a good start for them. I guess the upside to this is that Heatran can do 80, potentially. Sabrina, at the moment, I don't really care for that. Let's just pass. Might get destroyed. Okay, that's not something I like to see. But yeah, the Lucario deck is pretty good. You could either run Garchomp EX with it or Rampardos. Both of which are pretty strong. Alright. There's Magmar. I do like to see that, although awkwardly... I don't think we're putting energy on it this turn. I'm just gonna chip away. Scary thing is, next turn they could evolve into Garchomp, and I mean, that's terrifying. But if they do that, it's possible... Well, never mind. I was gonna say it's possible we could actually just knock out this Riolu, but... I guess a terrifying situation is if they evolve into Lucario and evolve into Garchomp. Do they have double potion, or are they evolving here? And cape, okay. I mean, Riolu's important, so we want that dead as soon as possible. There's the Moltres. We just drew our deck in the wrong order. Sabrina. I don't think there's any value in Sabrina here. And we also don't want to evolve Magmar just in case we draw Blaine. So we just hit for 40 again. Pretty unfortunate given that we were one turn away from just knocking out Riolu. But like I said, Riolu's pretty important to their deck. If we can knock it out before they evolve it, that's great. Otherwise, we'll see. There's another one though, so if they have Lucario, they can get it going. At least our deck is kind of like not like just dead in the water anymore, because there was a point where they were just doing everything and we just had like Heatran in play. All right, I don't need to worry about like communication anymore, so I can just go ahead and play this Magmar. And I think we just go ahead and knock out Riolu. Although once again, like I was saying, it's nice to knock out Riolu before they can evolve it. But now they just have another one on the bench. So all they need to do is draw Garchomp or Lucario, which is pretty likely. And we're in a lot of trouble. However, if we draw Blaine... Never mind. Well, no, if we draw Blaine, we can knock out this Gabite. That is not something I want to see. Although, never mind. I was going to say, although, we can actually do 80 now. Wow. Sure. They don't have any points. They have no cards as well, which can be super clutch for us. Like, I was hoping if I top deck Blaine, that would be so good. But there's a lot of things we could do here. And again, the fact that they have 0 cards in hand is really clutch. So we can Leaf into Magmar. That doesn't do quite enough. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play this. I kind of... If they knock out Moltres, it is what it is, honestly, at this point. So let's go ahead and just start with an Inferno Dance. Like, I'm kind of fine having Moltres in play here, because we can set up our bench. Oh my god, come on. I guess we have to put it on Magmortar, but putting it on Magmortar is actually very strong. Let's hope they did not draw Garchomp. Or Research. Oh god. With our luck, we just got 2 tails. Yeah, there it is. I was going to say, with our luck, we just got 2 tails and they draw Garchomp. Of course, that's going to happen. They cannot Dragon Claw, though. So this next turn, we can go right into Magmortar and burn them. So that could be pretty valuable. Or what we could do is... No, maybe not. There's Blaine. Wow. Oh man, Leaf into Chomp, or Leaf into Magmortar. I think we have to do that. And then just burn them and hope for the best. 100 damage is a lot. Man, this is... Do we evolve? No, we don't evolve because we have Blaine in hand. Alright, let's see how this Magmortar does. 100 damage. And we burn them, so they take 20 right off the bat. Of course, they can kill Magmortar here, but if they flip tails, they get to take an extra 20. Okay, sure. But if they don't... Oh, if they don't draw a potion... Okay, I think we can win. Oh my god. Winning against this deck is insane. Because they knock out Magmortar, they get 1 point. Wow, I can't believe we won this game. Because I get to go into Moltres, I get to don an energy from Heatran onto Moltres, and then play my energy for turn onto Moltres, which will allow us to do 70 damage to them. 70 damage, right? I'm like, oh god, my finger almost slipped, and I almost put an energy on my bench. Oh god, we have this game. This is insane. I will take it. Thank you very much, bro. Wow, okay, yeah, that was an insane game, because we had a really rough start, and I know that this deck, the Lucario Garchomp deck, is really powerful, and it can just kind of do massive amounts of damage out of nowhere, so being able to win with this deck is great. I'm really happy. And there is the deck. I thought it was a lot of fun and really, really powerful. And sure, at the end of the day, maybe you would rather run Charizard over Magmortar, but another big reason why I prefer Magmortar is because it's a stage 1. Of course, Charizard is a stage 2, and I just don't love having those games where you just never draw the right pieces to evolve into Charizard. Sometimes that can be super awkward, especially given that you have games where you draw just Charmander as your basic and not Moltres. And at least in this deck, if you draw Magmar, it can at least do something for itself because of Blaine. So I really like that kind of positioning for the deck. But let me know what you think about it. If there are any changes you would make, any Pokemon you would add or take out, or any trainers that you would add or take out, I'm definitely open to hear that. But I love this deck, and I hope you can try it out for yourself and let me know how it does. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day. I'll talk to you next time.